Hello. It is mid-November 2021 and Joey and I are in beautiful Shenandoah National Park for what's planned to be a 3-day backpacking adventure doing the Big Run, Doyles River, Frazier Loop. We don't anticipate this being the most physically challenging trip we've ever done. We've got less than 20 miles to tackle, but our biggest difficulty is certainly going to be the weather out here.
Ooh.
Our precipitation chances are low, but the temperatures are also quite low. Highs in the mid-40s, lows getting close to 20 with a biting gusty winds coming through today, up to 30 miles an hour.
Quite windy today so far, so hopefully that'll calm down towards the evening, so we'll see.
Hopefully so. We're gonna have to get moving to stay warm, so it's time to hit the trail.
Let's do it.
After a short road walk along Skyline Drive, we're now on Patterson Ridge Trail, which we'll be hiking for the majority of our day today. Today's hike is pretty much entirely downhill. And what goes down must come up since this is a loop, so the remaining days of the trip will have much more climbing. Thanks to the leaves being down this time of year, we've been enjoying some really nice views out to both sides of the Patterson Ridge Trail. Fortunately, we've descended down out of the wind, and it's very nice with the sun out and the cool temperatures. Alrighty, well thank you daylight savings. It's not even 4 p.m. and the sun is dropping down behind the ridge. Joey and I descend into darkness.
It's gonna be time to set up camp soon.
Finishing up the Patterson Ridge Trail. We're now hopping on Big Run Portal Trail and we are beginning to look for a place to camp. Home sweet home. We found a little camp spot here in between the trail and the creek. We're gonna get set up quickly and get into some warm clothes real fast. Shenandoah National Park is a long and narrow protected patch of land along the Blue Ridge Mountains. Stretching about 100 miles in length and varying from 1 to 13 miles in width, the park is nestled between the Shenandoah Valley to the west and the Virginia Piedmont Hills to the east. On this trip, we're using the Shenandoah National Park Nat Geo map number 228. Let's take a look at the map for day 1. We started at the Loft Mountain Wayside, had a short road walk along Skyline Drive to connect with the Patterson Ridge Trail, which took us down to the Big Run Portal Trail, and we set up camp along Big Run. Day 1 was about 4 miles. We're in camp.
Cheers.
We got set up, and the sun is pretty much down and has been for a while now.
A little bit.
We were really hoping for a beautiful campsite just like this. We looked at a couple spots through the woods and we kept being like, okay, we'll go a little farther, maybe we'll find something better. And each campsite was a little better. Finally we found this one and it was perfect.
The way things are going, I'm pretty sure there's a little motel just up the trail a little ways.
Good, easy day of hiking today. Once we got down off the very top of the mountain, the wind, we were protected by the sides, and that was very nice. That really saved us. Hopefully we can stay out of the wind for the rest of the trip.
Indeed.
Joey said it's already in the mid-30s right now. We're settled in. We're gonna get some dinner in us soon. And then that'll be the end of day one.
What a day.
Good night.
Good night.
Good morning.
Good morning.
We made it to day two.
Yeah, we did.
In Shenandoah, Virginia. Cold night last night, cold morning this morning, and we're staring down the barrel of a cold day today as well. The sun has started to pop up over the ridgeline in front of us, but don't let that fool you. We're still a couple degrees away from even hitting freezing here this morning.
I was just telling Layne about 20 minutes ago, I thought we were 10 minutes away from direct sunshine, and so far that's not really been the case. So it's going to be a cold one.
It's gonna be a cold one. We've got in the range of 8 miles or so to go today, so shouldn't be too terribly bad for us. Maybe a climb or two along the way to get the blood flowing, get things warmed up, and then we'll be back to hopefully another beautiful campsite alongside some streams. That's what we're aiming for tonight. We've got breakfast in us. We're gonna get camp packed up and then get moving to get warm.
Have another great day.
We managed to keep our feet dry on that crossing of Big Run, which is obviously great news in this cold weather. Three crossings down, and we've managed to keep dry feet on all of them. And that's what we need. Very pretty streamside hiking for us so far this morning. We're enjoying the scenery. Finishing up the Big Run Portal Trail, hopping on the Big Run Loop Trail, and it looks like our climb up to the Appalachian Trail is beginning in earnest. Making some progress on our climb and staying warm.
Stay very warm.
Finishing up the Big Run Loop Trail, we're hopping on the Appalachian Trail for a couple miles. We just finished up a nice late lunch at Brown Gap. We sat in between some of the cars parked here to get us out of the wind for a little bit, and now we're back on the trail. Finishing up the Appalachian Trail, and we're heading on to Jones Run Trail. Heading down, down, down. A pretty spot along Jones Run. These must be Jones Run Falls. In this nice little ravine. Pretty spot on a pretty day. Well, we've come a little farther down, and this is actually probably Jones Run Falls. This is a big waterfall here. Here we are at the bottom of the big falls. Really rocky area, lots of big boulders and different kind of rock designs, as well as obviously the beautiful cascades. Yet another cascade along Jones Run. Home sweet home. We found another awesome campsite tonight, right at the confluence of Jones Run and the Doyles River. It was very cold down in the valley. We've climbed up a few feet and feels a little warmer, so hopefully we're out of the cold sink beside the rivers. Shenandoah National Park was formed from a patchwork of private land, with over 5,000 parcels making up what would become the park. Most inhabitants were paid for their land or driven off, but around 40 people were allowed to live out the rest of their lives on parkland. The last of these passed away in 1979 at the age of 92. Let's take a look at the map for day 2. We started at our campsite along Big Run. We followed the Big Run Portal Trail to connect with the Big Run Loop Trail, which brought us up to the Appalachian Trail. We headed southbound to connect with the Jones Run Trail, followed that to the beautiful Jones Run until we set up camp around the confluence of Jones Run and the Doyles River. Day 2 is about 8 miles. Well, day 2 has been another great day for us in Shenandoah National Park. Very pretty day of hiking. I think both of our favorite part was coming down Jones Run. There was lots of waterfalls, lots of pools, lots of features, big boulders.
It's like by the time you get to the water system, it's just one big cascade. I mean, it's pour over after pour over. It's really great.
It was awesome. We saw quite a few day hikers today. We haven't seen any other backpackers this entire trip. We've got camp set up. We're gonna get some dinner in us and settle in for an evening that should hopefully be a little warmer than yesterday.
Hopefully. We'll play our cards right.
As long as nothing crazy happens, that'll be the end of day 2. Good night.
Good night.
Morning.
Good morning.
We made it to day 3 here in Shenandoah National Park, Virginia. Our final day. We had a warmer night last night than the night before. Nice and comfortable for us.
Relatively speaking, warm, yeah.
And we actually had a pretty cool story that happened to Joey yesterday morning.
Yeah, yesterday morning, getting up after breakfast, I went to take care of some business. I was digging my cat hole, so pretty focused on the ground for a couple of minutes. And deer are more sneaky than I gave them credit for, because when I looked up, I was surrounded by about 6 deer all just staring at me. They had formed a little circle around my area. Kind of eyeballed me for a bit, sized me up, and then carried on about their day. So I was right up close and personal with a herd of them. Pretty cool.
They said you wandered into the wrong part of town this morning. We've got about 6 miles or a hair over to finish off the trip. We're enjoying another beautiful campsite here. Finishing up some breakfast. We're gonna get camp packed up soon, and then it'll be time to hit the trail.
Get some exercise in.
The sun is out and shining this morning, warming things up for us. One last look at our perch above the confluence of Jones Run and Doyles River. A very scenic site for us to be set up at. Looks like we've got another day of pretty hiking today. The Doyles River system has been cascade after cascade. Another one. The last falls we were at was the lower Doyles River Falls, and this is the upper Doyles River Falls. Heading uphill on the Appalachian Trail. Joey and I get a kick out of the intersection signs here in Shenandoah because they've got these big beefy stone cement metal posts, and then they put the actual trail instructions in the smallest, faintest font possible. Finishing up the Appalachian Trail for this trip and doing our last 3/4 of a mile along the Frazier Discovery Trail. Oh yeah!
Yeah!
Woo! Ooh, buddy.
All right.
3 days in Shenandoah in the books. We had a really awesome trip out here. Lots of beautiful stream-side hiking for big parts. When we weren't at the streams, we were on the ridges, and with the leaves down, we had lots of good views throughout the last couple days.
Yeah, most of yesterday and the first half of today was tons of water features, falls and cascades all over the place. So always a great highlight on a trip when you get that.
The temperatures were cold, but we kept our spirits warm. We made it here to the end, and that's gonna be it for us.
Time to go get some real food.
Goodbye. Let's take a look at the map for day 3. When we started at our campsite, we're on the confluence of Jones Run and the Doyles River. Take the Doyles River Trail to connect with the Appalachian Trail, and follow that northbound to the Frazier Discovery Trail, which takes us to Skyline Drive, and we cross that to reach the Loft Mountain Wayside, where we started. Day 3 was about 6 miles, for a trip total of approximately 18 miles.